Hello everybody, Kazu back at it again with another guide video. This time I'm talking about Counter-Side. Now, I'm a pretty new player myself. I recently started Counter-Side and there were a few mistakes that I made along the way that I hope new players wouldn't make. So, in light of that reason, I chose to make this video to just advise new players on what you should avoid doing for both the free-to-play and the pay-to-play players. Now, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Now, the first thing you realize when you start out this game is that the game actually forces you to do a lot of things. When you complete a certain story, it will force you to do certain things. As you go along the way, you will start unlocking more and more categories for your recruitment, a maximum of 3. Obviously, as a new player, you would have access to more banners because of events. But right now, the main two summons would be your normal recruitment and your classified recruitment. The operator recruitment you will get along the way once you complete your story. But TLDR for operator recruitment, I personally do not recommend you to get operators through recruitment, and I will explain why in the later part of this video, so stay tuned. Without further ado, let's jump into the 5 resource that you see on the screen right now. Right, the 5 resources here you see are your employment contracts, your classified employment contracts, your quads, and your task planet point, and finally your admin coin. Now this admin coin is going to be out of the question for those people who wish to maintain a free-to-play stance on the game, because in order to get admin coins you have to top up in the game with real money. So if you're wondering, since Awaken unit summoning states 300 admin coins, do I actually have to pay to get Awaken characters? The answer to that question is no. Okay, because as time goes, as new event comes and as new attendance reward comes, you will get more and more classified employment contracts, and these contracts are used to summon Awaken characters. However, the difference between the classified employment contracts and the normal contract you will get is that instead of using 10, right? Instead of using 10, this contract uses 20, and it's not for 10 pulls, 20 for 1 pull, right? And if I'm not mistaken, it's a base cost of 20 for 1 pull. So if I'm mistaken, however, it will either be 30 or 40 of these employment contracts in order to summon one unit, just one, right? So in other words, you would actually have to save up a total of 3,000 if it's 20 per one unit. You have to save up 3,000 for a guaranteed Awaken unit that you want. And just to put this into perspective, SSR units are hard to come by, right? Really, really difficult to come by, especially if you want to get a duplicate SSR, and you will need a total of if I'm not mistaken, you need a total of 21 duplicate characters just to have the character realize its full potential. You need 21 duplicates. So you can already imagine it's already so difficult to get SSR. It's even more difficult to get Awaken SSR. And why so is because you can actually only obtain Awaken units from this classified banner, which uses the classified employment, which you can only get a maximum of 10 to 40 employment contracts per month of the login, the attendance rewards, aside from your events, which will also give you employment contracts. Now we will now move on to the first topic of the day, which is your employment contract and how to get this employment contract. Before I go on to explain, I would like to bring your attention towards this thing, this yellow thing here. It's called Task Planet Point. I will explain to you what this is for in the later part of the video, but just keep it at the top of your head that you will always be gaining this Task Planet Point. The ratio of this Task Planet Point is 1. Okay, 1 character is to 10 points. Every 1 character that you pull, regardless of whatever resource you use, every 1 character is 10 points. Okay, so without further ado, let's talk about employment contract and how you can get them as a new player, as either pay to play or free to play. So if you see under the bottom left hand side, you see event, right, for new players. Click on it and you will see new user missions. On the day 1 itself, you will get so many of these employment contracts, right? So I would highly advise you to complete all days, not just day 1. I know that other days might not reward you with employment contracts. Some days will reward you with the character itself, but at the end of day 7, you actually get this card, which allows you to pick from a list of SSR characters stated here, and one of the featured SSR is actually one of, if not the best, arguably the best snipers in the game, and her name is Xiaolin. So if you actually can and have the time, I would highly recommend you to complete all your quests for 7 days so you can get Xiaolin. So moving on from your event, the next area you can get your employment contracts from, aside from attendance, would be your shop. Now I know many of you would think that, oh, shop means you have to, it's hidden behind a paywall, but I will address how free-to-play players can actually purchase employment contracts without the use of real cash or real money later, after I address some of the packages that pay-to-play players would want to consider when they first join this game. So if you are a pay-to-play player, let me just direct your attention to this package here that says new limited awakened employee selection coupon. Okay, as I've mentioned earlier in the video, awakened characters are extremely difficult to come by, so this is one of the methods you can immediately have access to arguably one of the best awakened character, which is Yuna Springfield. It's not to say that the other two is bad, as long as it's an awakened character. In the grand scheme of things, awakened characters usually have slightly better stats than the normal SSR characters, but of course the tier list would follow what is meta. So if you pick something out of the meta, you might lose to a SSR character that's in the meta. So try not to have high expectations if you pick any character besides Yuna Springfield. So I would highly recommend you to pick Yuna Springfield if you're going to buy this package, which I do recommend you to buy if you are pay to win. It also gives you additional classified employment contracts that you can use to recruit more awakened units that you want in the future. So aside from that, there are various packages that includes employment contracts as well. Most, if not all, of these contracts are worth buying. I will not go too much into detail of each of the package other than the custom package, because it's different. With the custom package, you can actually select the items that you want from the package, and these are some of the items that I recommend to get as a new player. First off is your classified employment contract, and one of the reasons why I would pick this over the others is because, like I said, classified employment contract is very hard to get. It's only on events or your attendance reward, right, that you can get this contract. So employment contract and task planet point you will get, right? Task planet point you will always receive as you pull, and then SR is not worth getting because some of the SRs, in fact the best SR that you can get in the game, is actually grindable, so this is not worth getting. And then on top of that, the employment contract, you will also get a ton of this. as a new player, so you don't really have to look at this. Next would be, I recommend Special Appraisal as a new player because you're going to be leveling a lot of characters as you go. Tuning Binary is fine, but it's more towards the mid game. And then you have the fourth item, which I highly recommend, Fusion Core, because APT cores are grindable dailies, right? You can get this from dailies. And they are inter-exchangeable, so you can change the colors with crafting, right? You can, arguably you can also craft for Fusion Core, but it's a little bit more expensive. As for Set Binary, this item is a super late game, and you will require a lot of the set binaries to roll for set effects, right? To put this into perspective, one tier 5 item, tier 5 is not the best item, but tier 5 gold tier 5 requires 13 set binaries to reset the set effect once, and the chances of you getting the specific set effect that you want is very low. So imagine you have to keep rolling for 4 different equipments for every single character, right? So you will need a lot of set binary in the late game, and this is if you have a lot of money, then only then will you consider set binary, because it's really out of the question. It's too much. You will waste too much money on set binary, so just pick Fusion Core instead. Next would be, as I mentioned, it's a waste of money to get set binary, so either pick prime trading data, which is what I recommend, or pick tuning. Tuning is mid game, right? So pick, if you're gonna early game, then focus on early game first. So Special Appraisal and prime data trading. This item here is used to upgrade your character skills. So the last item here I'll recommend, obviously, maybe not so obvious, but I'll recommend Eternium. Okay. The reason why I don't recommend the random box is because it doesn't really give anything that I think is good per se. Like I said, the set binary is really not worth. You waste too much money. Fusion Core is decent, but not really a prime focus for your early game. And tuning binary, like I said, it's mid game, right? And then the APT cost you can grind for, right? So at the end of the day, Eternium is really the best option. You might think that 4 million credits is a lot, but it's not. Because with the 70k Eternium that you get, rather than the chance of getting 24 times a maximum of 50 Eternium, which is like what, 50k Eternium, you only have a 0.25 chance to get 50k Eternium, which is, in my opinion, the best thing you can get. Would you rather take that chance, or would you rather a guaranteed 70k? In my opinion, I feel the 70k is going to help you a lot in your early phases, and you can use the 70k to grind for resources, right? To put this into perspective, the 70k Eternium is actually worth more credits than the credits displayed here. In the future, when you unlock this operation called profit creation, this third option gives you the opportunity to gain anywhere from 70k to 75k credits for every run. So with the 70,000 Eternium that you'll be getting, you can run at a maximum of 116 of these instances, which would amount to a total of 8 million credits. So the 4 million credits that if you choose 4 million credits, you're really losing out. So anyways, I'm moving on from the pay to play to the free to play now. So for the free to play players, just to put it out there, the shop is not just, this section is for the pay to play, but for you guys, there's a feature, right? Just click on shop list at the bottom left. These two areas, seasonal and exchange center, is where you will find free sorry, I forgot the word. Free contracts, employment contracts, right? That you can buy using in-game credits that you obtain from doing your story and from events. So one of the places that you'll get your contracts from is through your seasonal rewards, right? Under the seasonal here, on the first tab, Gauntlet, you will see that there's employment contract. You might be wondering what is Gauntlet and how do I purchase employment contracts from Gauntlet. So Gauntlet is actually PvP. The PvP system in here is called Gauntlet. So when you participate in PvP and you win, you will gain this thing called Gauntlet points, which you will then come here and spend those points. So in order to gain Gauntlet points, basically after you unlock PvP, you go around fighting people. So there are two methods of gaining Gauntlet points. One is through strategy battle, the other is through rank battle. I highly recommend you to do strategy battle instead of rank battle. The reason why is because you can pick and choose your opponents in strategy battle, whereas rank battle is entirely random. So you have a chance of running into opponents that are leaps and bounds ahead of you, characters with like 10 maxed awakened characters, and just stomp you, you know what I mean? So it's better to pick strategy battle where you can choose opponents to fight. So I think it doesn't matter whether you choose rank or whether you choose strategy. At the end of the day, you would still be climbing the rank, and it's relatively important to climb the rank for free-to-play players, especially since you'll be getting free gems. It doesn't matter even if you're bronze, you'll be getting free gems, right? So you not only get the free gems from seasonal, you also get weekly gems if you climb. For bronze, you probably will get gems, but if you climb above bronze 4, you start getting weekly gems, right? So if you climb all the way to challenger, you get like 80 gems per week, and then after the season completes, you'll get like 320 gems. So it's a good way to farm gems for your free-to-play players. And then the difference between strategy battle and rank battle, besides the fact that you get paired against random people in rank battle, is that for strategy battle, it only consumes a maximum of 75. Okay, as the bottom right you can see, right now it's sitting at 475 points. These are the amount of points I can redeem as extra. Okay, the base amount of Gauntlet points that you get per win is 25. But if you see this number 475, if it's more than 75, you will always gain you'll gain exactly 75 Gauntlet points every time you win a battle, as long as this number isn't below 75. Okay. For rank battle, this is different, because for rank battle, if you win your matchup, you actually get around 135 Gauntlet points instead. So if you want to get more Gauntlet points, rank battle is better. But if you want guaranteed 75 Gauntlet points, you just keep doing this area. But of course, this area requires strategy battle ticket, whereas rank battle doesn't require strategy battle ticket. So strategy battle ticket only refreshes every few hours, so you only have a chance of challenging opponents 6 times and hopefully win 6 times. So if you have additional Gauntlet points to redeem, and then you can try rank battle to redeem the rest of the excess Gauntlet points that you have, because this consumes like a lot of your points here to give you the Gauntlet points to spend. Okay, so without further ado, we are going to move on next to the next area that you can get your tickets from. Just call it tickets to simplify it. Anyways, the first area that you can get your employment contracts from, or your tickets from, is this area where usually when you click the shop list and you click exchange center, the first thing you see is your today's deal. And sometimes this today's deal will feature employment contracts. Sometimes the NPC will sell it using credits, or sometimes you will sell using quartz. Now for credits, it's always worth to buy employment contracts, right? Because credits is very easy to come by. But for quartz, you actually have to calculate because the amount is one employment ticket is worth 150 quartz. Okay, I repeat, one employment ticket is worth 150 quartz because you need 10 tickets to summon 10 characters, but you need 1500 quartz to summon 10 characters, right? So if you divide 1005 by 10, you get 150. So 1 is to 150. So if she sells anything, if she sells the tickets, one ticket for 150 is an equivalent exchange, it's worth to buy. If she sells one ticket for 200, then it's not worth to buy. If she sells one ticket for lower than 150, it's bang for your buck, you save quartz, right? But it's not a set number. She doesn't sell a set number. Sometimes it can be 1, sometimes it can be 3, 5, 10, doesn't matter. As long as if it's credits, you buy. If it's quartz, you need to calculate. So bringing your attention next to Planet Mall, because this is the next area that you can get employment contracts. But before you consider buying employment contracts, I want to bring your focus to operators, because as I've mentioned, you shouldn't roll for operators because this is where you get your operators from. And as I've mentioned, you will always be getting task planet points no matter what you do. In this game, you'll always be rolling and you want duplicate units. I'll explain why later. So to get duplicate SSR unit is very difficult, so you're going to keep rolling and eventually you will stock up a lot of task planet points, enough to buy operators. So you want to save up first for operators, and the first operator you want to buy is Kim Hana. The three best operators in the game right now is Sigma, Serena Crew, and Kim Hana, which is all here. Okay, and the reason why you want to buy Kim Hana is because she's the balance between Sigma and Serena Crew. Sigma is a little bit more on the PvE side. It's good for raids, it's good for PvE. Serena Crew is good for PvP. Whereas Kim Hana is the balance of both. She can be used in both instances, PvE and PvP. Now, out of these three operators, it really depends on your build, the ship you use, and the units you have in your team. I cannot advise you on how you should go about building, synergizing your operators with your team, because I'm not really an expert in this matter. So you can do a bit of research on your own, in your own free time, with regards to what operator synergizes well with your team. But currently in the meta, Sigma, Serena Crew, and Kim Hana is the best. But I recommend Kim Hana first because she would help you clear more content than either Sigma or Serena Crew. So moving on, after you've bought your operators, then only would you consider buying anything else from this area. I do not recommend getting task planet SSR because it gives you random SSR. You don't get to choose, and sometimes you might not get the SSR unit that you want, or you might get SSR unit that is considered trash. So don't buy this, okay? And next of all, don't buy unit data from here. I don't feel it's worth. There are better ways to get unit data, but yeah. Anyways, next, I want to pull your attention towards the bottom right. I want to pull your attention towards the bottom right. It says counter pass. Click on it. Now, if you are in a season where a counter pass is featured, please try to complete all the missions if possible. Try to get the maximum level for your counter pass to receive all the rewards, because this is also where you'll get all your quartz as a free-to-play player. This is especially important for free-to-play players because besides your stories that you will do, there's just really no other ways to get quartz. But there's a bunch of stories. I will get to that later. So this is one of the other ways you can get quartz as well, and sometimes employment contracts. So you might be wondering, oh, how do I go about completing the pass, or how to level the pass in order to get more rewards? So if you see on the top, there's this thing called pass mission. You click on it. Now there are daily missions as well as weekly missions. Now Obviously, daily will refresh daily and weekly will refresh weekly, but these missions will feature more than the number displayed on the top. It says 6/6, right? But they will display more than 6 missions for you to pick and choose from. And one of the reasons why they do that is because there are some missions that will require you to donate materials in order to complete. And you want to pick and choose wisely, because sometimes you cannot afford to donate certain materials. Like you don't have enough gold to donate, something like that, or you don't have enough credits to donate. Then you pick another mission to complete, right? So on top of the mission XP that once you complete a mission, you get mission XP, and on top of that, once you complete the daily pass completion, right? Once you get 6/6, this thing here at the side will light up, and all you have to do is click on it when it lights up, and then it will give you bonus mission XP. Now this applies for weekly mission as well, but weekly mission you have to complete 10 before this thing lights up, and then you can click on it and claim the mission XP. And as you go on doing your dailies and your dailies and your weeklies, your counterparts will continue to level up and you gain more rewards. So right now we're gonna go next to our focus, which is the main bulk of where you get your tickets, right? So the main bulk of where you get your contracts from is here, contract case. Okay, how to get here? You click on the 3 bars on the top right, you click on operation, and then you see a list on your left, and the third last tab is counter case. Click on it or press on it if you're using your phone. Now click or press on the file, and once you open up the file, you see a bunch of characters. The silhouettes represent the characters that you do not have. Now what this file does is basically it keeps tracks of every single characters featured in this file. Once you complete the requirement, it actually unlocks a reward for you to collect, and you can unlock the reward using this thing called info, which I will explain in another video. If you guys are interested to learn on what info is, I will explain it on another video. Let me know if you're interested. But anyways, case in point, you unlock the investigation with info points, and once you unlock the investigation, you just need to press on the button investigate in order to claim your rewards. And for every scenario, okay, for every single character here, case 1 and case 2 will always be the same rewards. It will always give special appraisal and employment contract. Case 1 will always be 10 special appraisals. Case 2 will always be 3 employment contracts regardless of the characters. So this is where you get the bulk of your special appraisals and your employment contracts. So what is special appraisals? Special appraisals, or normal appraisals, or rare appraisals, these are the items that you use to level your characters. So you will only need 3 of these special appraisals. You get 10 from once you complete an investigation, you get 10 per character. So you only need 3 out of the 10 to level these characters to 25. So you will still be making 7 along the way. So you don't really have to worry about wasting special appraisals. So once you are done, okay, I want to bring your attention down to this area, because there are 4 characters in this area that is different from the rest, and these 4 characters are Arius, Fion, Kim Cho-eun, and Lee Jin. Why are they different? I'm not sure, because I've not gotten that far into the game. I'm not sure if you can unlock other cases for them, but right now I only have access to 3 cases, and their level requirement is different from the rest. The rest I've unlocked case 2 at level 25, but for these 4 characters that I mentioned, I've only unlocked their case at level 50, right? I've only unlocked their case at level 50, but the same goes for every single character that I've said thus far. The first reward and the second reward is always going to be the same. Special appraisal, and then followed by employment contract. So this area is where you'll get the bulk of your contracts, right? As a free-to-play player. So you try to get all the featured characters here to level 25 and the 4 of these characters to level 50 to get all your employment contracts. And let me also bring your attention to the storylines, because some of these instances in the story would reward you with employment contracts. Okay, let me just show you an example. Say for example, here, right? So the condition to get the condition to get employment contract is to clear this for the first time. So the condition changes with different scenarios, right? For the vast majority that I've experienced thus far, for the vast majority of the first clear, they will always give you quartz, right? So this is where you will get the vast majority of your quartz from. For whether it's normal, difficulty hard, the vast majority will always give you first clear quartz. But this scenario can change, okay? Say for example, profit creation. Under profit creation, the scenario is medal attained. In order to get the quartz reward, you need to obtain medals, right? Now, on the topic of medals, I want to bring your attention towards everything you see here on the left hand side, from mainstream all the way to event. Okay, they have multiple layers of stories, but also multiple layers of instances that you can do, which you can already start to see how much quartz you can get, how much free quartz that you can get as a free player or as a pay-to-play player. Now, I want to bring your attention, okay, towards on the topic, what was I talking about? Shit, I'm sorry. Okay, we were actually on the topic of medals, if I'm not mistaken, and I want to bring your attention towards medals and why it's so important. Okay, now if you notice at the bottom of your mainstream story, your side story, okay, and your free contract and your event, okay, all these things that I just mentioned, they have this thing called the get reward function. And this get reward function, basically what it means is you need to complete every single act featured in this story with full medals obtained. Okay, what this means is, if the story has 10 acts and all 10 acts have 3 medals, you need to obtain all 3 medals for all 10 acts to unlock 100%. And once you've unlocked 100% for, this is only, okay, the crystals you get for each scenario differs. For main story, you will get a total of 850. For every single story you complete, you get 850 as long as you complete the medal requirement. And that's what the 100% represents, the amount of medals you have obtained, 100% of the medals, right? So that's how you can claim the additional crystals. As I mentioned, the crystal changes with scenario. So for example, in side story, you get an option of completing the normal and the hard story for its rewards, right? If you complete the normal mode and you obtain all the medals as well as the hard and obtain all the medals, you get both the normal and the hard rewards, right? The normal 100 quartz and the hard 50 quartz. But of course, like I said, it differs. So in the case of the side story, the first scenario will give you 150, the rest will give you 350. Then for free contracts, they only have normal mode, and they give you 200 for every completion of the medals. Then for event, it differs. Okay, event differs from event to event. Okay, say for example, this event gives you 50, but the event beside it gives you 150, right? So event differs from event to event. So case in point, you will gain a lot of additional quartz from first clear, but also from your get reward function. Now you might be wondering, so do I only just clear the normal ones say if I only have a normal get reward function, do I just only clear the normal ones and not do the hard events or challenges? The answer here is I don't recommend it, because some of these challenges, right, they give you quads for your first clear as well, right? Some of these hard stories, they give you quads, so you would want to try and get as much free quads as you possibly can. So always try to, push for, even if you don't get additional quads for doing full medal, just try to push for 3 medals so you can get additional materials. Anyways, I think I've pretty much covered how you can get free quads, and let me just move now the attention to why additional characters duplicates are very important in this game. So if you go under management and scroll throughout your characters, you see that different tiers of characters start out with different stars. Normal and rare starts out with 1, SR starts out with 2, SR starts out with 2 and SSR starts out with 3. So the maximum capacity of each of these tiers differs. R has a maximum capacity of 4 stars, SR has a maximum capacity of 5, and SSR a maximum capacity of 6. Now, these characters they don't start out with 4 stars, or they don't start out with 5 stars. They don't start out with their fully realized potential the moment you summon them. So how do you obtain more stars for the characters? You limit break them. Okay, there's a function called limit break. So how do you limit break your characters? You use your limit break cost. For the vast majority of your characters, you use limit break cost, except for a selected few. Okay, except for rares, because you will encounter a lot of rare units along the way, so much so that you can limit break them using the duplicate, right? You can use the duplicate characters to limit break your characters for rare and for some of the SR units, because some of the SR units you can actually grind for, which I will get into probably in the next video if you guys are interested to know which SR units you can grind for. So some of the SR units, just put it at the top of your head. Some SR units you can grind for, so you don't really have to worry too much. One of the example is Evelyn Keller. You can grind for Evelyn Keller, which is the best SR unit in the game. You can grind for her and just use her as feed. It's like a free awakening material to limit break with, cause you can grind with her. But like I've mentioned earlier, SSR units are different case because they are very difficult to come by, especially if you're trying to get duplicates. And you might be wondering, oh, so if I'm only using a limit break cost to limit break my character, then what are the duplicates for, if not to limit break to push for stars? Okay, I would like to bring your attention towards one of my characters here at the top, Claudia. Now, if you see at the top here, her max level is 101 out of 110 meets. She has another 9 levels to go as compared to say for example the rare character, right? Because Claudia is also rare, right? Say this rare character, you see the max level here is 100. So why is my Claudia different? So if I scroll all the way up to show you guys, if I click limit break, you actually see that, oh, I actually max out the limit break, right? And to do that, in order to max out your limit break, you need to first reach the full potential, the full star potential of your character. So say for example, rare characters start out with 1 star, but their full potential is 4 stars. So once you realize their full star potential, is only then that the levels are involved. So just to give you guys a better example, say for example, I already maxed out the stars of Estarossa, but her level is still 100. Why? Because I haven't limit fused her. Okay, so limit fuse and limit break is the same function under the limit break category, but it's different what you call that, is different naming system, right? When you limit break a character after they have realized their full style potential, is considered a limit fusion. It's no longer considered limit breaking. It's considered limit fusion, but the category is still under limit break. You still use the same function to push your characters. So what this is where you start using your duplicates. And why is because you want to reduce the cost of fusion core. Fusion core is actually quite difficult to craft because of the materials required, and it's actually quite costly to craft as well. So you don't really want to use fusion cores to limit break your characters. And the other reason why you don't want to use fusion core to limit break your fully start characters is because, as I mentioned, awakened units are extremely difficult to come by. Okay, especially for free-to-play players like you. I'm not exactly free-to-play, so I can't refer to myself, but it's very difficult for free-to-play players to obtain awakened units. So if you have the chance in the future, if you have saved up enough classified employment contracts to summon a guaranteed awakened unit that you want, you can actually start using your fusion materials, your fusion core, to push all these awakened units above level 100 to 110, right? So every limit fusion you do is 2 levels addition. So you need to do limit break for 5 times before your character reaches its full cap max 110 level. Okay, so just take my word for it. Do not use your SSR duplicates to push for stars. Only use them to push for levels. Now you might be wondering, okay, what if I fully realize the potential of my SSR characters? They are already at 110. What do I do with the extra SSR characters then? So there are 2 things you can do. One is to delete the SSR character, and I'm not joking. Deleting doesn't mean it just means you're removing the character in exchange for credits and materials, right? So in this case, say for example you gain additional SSR when your SSR is already maxed out at 110. So what you want to do is you just click on the SSR right here on the bottom. You see that you actually gain business cards. I will tell you where to use them later. Fusion core, right? If it's an SSR, usually you will give fusion core. Then if you click on other characters, some of them will give you credits, some of them will give you APT cores, right? APT cores will depend on what character you diffuse. Okay, if it's a counter, it will give you a red core. If it's a mech, it will give you a green core. If it's a soldier, it will give you a blue core. Okay, so just take it with a anyways, I want to bring your attention to this here, right here. Okay, if you realize this is actually a soldier that I'm clicking on, you realize that I'm not gaining any cores. Why is that? And what if I click this, I gain cores? Why? So if you realize the difference between this and this is that this one that I just clicked on has this thing called contract obtain. What contract obtain means is that you've obtained the character through pulling from your banners, right? So once you obtain a character through pulling, they will have this thing called contract obtain. And what this contract obtain means is if you dismantle these units, you get more business cards, you get more resources, right? If it's contract obtain. So just something to keep in mind. And then now after I've covered where you should use your duplicates on, I would now go to where you can use your business cards, because I just mentioned it. So under exchange center, once again, go all the way down. Business card is there. Okay, There's only really 3 items that I'll recommend you to buy, because all the rest here is on a need to need basis based off what you need at the moment. But this 3 is always a must have. So your Prime Rearmament, Lifetime Contract, and your Fusion Core. I will tell you where to use this and this, okay? First, we talk about Rearm and what is Rearm. If you click on Dormitory, you will see on the bottom left there's this thing called Facility. Click on it, and then there's Lab, right? Click on Lab, you see this thing called Rearm. This feature only unlocks after you complete chapter 5. What I mean by complete is just story complete, not medal complete. You don't have to complete medal to unlock this. You just need to complete the story to unlock this. So once you've unlocked Rearm, you click on it and you see a bunch of characters that you don't really understand what this feature is for. So TLDR, when you rearm a character, you basically improve its utility, and to put it into perspective, it's kind of like picking a diploma to specialize in real life. You get what I mean? So for Xiaolin is the only, like I mentioned, the best sniper in the game, right? She's the only character that has 2 different rearms, right? She's the only character with 2 different rearms. Now the best one to get is Crystal, because in the tier list she's SS tier in PvE and PvP, whereas Nest Keeper is triple S tier in PvP, but it's only S tier in PvE, right? So in terms of how balanced Crystal is, she's better in a sense. And then also Estarossa, there's the base version that I just showed you just now. And in order to rearm a character, this is where you use your rearm data, right? This is where you will use your rearm data to rearm characters. So in order to rearm a character, you need the base character that's shown. Different characters will have different base materials that would correspond to the character. So for every single character that you rearm, their minimum requirement is 110 level, which you will only obtain from max limit breaking them. Then on top of the base level requirement, you also require 5 million credits and the rearm data, which I just told you about. So the question is, can I only get rearm from purchasing? The answer is no. You can actually get rearm data from here, data transmission room. So if you click on data transmission room, there's like 5 boxes. What these 5 boxes does is basically after you awaken your character's full potential, your SSR character's full potential. Once your SSR character has hit 110, but you still got like an extra copy of it, this is where your additional copies will go to. It will come here, okay, your data transmission room. So what you do is when you transmit your data, not only will you get the prime rearm data, you also get your unit data. So this is the other way. This is the better way of getting unit data, is to actually transmit your data. So you do not do this. Please do not rearm your please do not transmit your SSR units until you have realized the full potential of your SSR, until they're 110. Then only then you consider using the transmit. Okay, so your priority should be limit fusion, pushing the boundaries of your SSR's max level, and then next priority would be your transmit data. Okay, after you have realized the full potential of your SSR, then you transmit. After you have gotten enough rearm data to rearm your units that you want to rearm, because it's a better version of the base unit. Once you rearm, say you really like Estarossa and you want to rearm her, because honestly I really recommend you to rearm Estarossa, because the rearm version is better. So if you rearm the character after you have gotten enough resource to rearm, then only then do you disenchant the character. Okay, so that's the priority. That's how things should go. So you might be wondering, okay, what is unit data? How do I use the unit data? So if you see on the left side of the screen, there's this thing called CEO Office. Click on it, and you'll notice the two things that I mentioned, right? The lifetime contract, right? And bottom here, there's this thing called Scout. Click on it. This is where you use your unit data. Okay, what you use your unit data for is basically to summon more units. As you can see here, Evelyn Keller, you can summon more. Basically, you can summon all these units featured here as long as you have enough unit data. Okay, and you can grind for some of them. Anyways, bringing back to the point which I mentioned, which is why some of the characters that you can grind for, you can close one eye and just use them to push for stars. The others that you can't grind for, do not do that. Okay, I'm going to bring your attention now towards lifetime contract and what it's for. Upon reaching max loyalty with your character, which happens after either haggling with them, leveling them, or just doing missions with them, or just putting them in the lobby, interacting with other people, they will gain, passive loyalty. Upon reaching max loyalty, which is 100 loyalty, your units gain a permanent 2% buff. Okay, a 2% to all their stats. But this loyalty, if it decreases, and it can decrease, you will not receive the 2% stat buff. Okay, so in order to stop this loyalty from decreasing, you actually purchase the lifetime contract, and only when you have obtained 100 loyalty can you sign a full-time contract with your characters that will prevent them from losing the additional stats that they get from having full loyalty, right? So that's where you use your lifetime contract and why you should purchase a lifetime contract. I think I pretty much covered majority, if not most of all of the methods you can get employment contracts and quads. If there's anything that I've missed out, let me know. And if you have any further questions, feel free to ask, and I will try my best to answer these questions. I'm not the most experienced player, but I'll answer them to the best of my abilities. But until then, Kazuhiko Senior signing out.